To turn to your neighbor. This is the Christian Talk Show where we talk about the church, music, movies, social media, and a whole lot more. I'm Cliff, and this is Big Dre. What's up, my brother?
What's up, fam? Wait. Let's get it here. Boop.
Oh,
Yo, I didn't even do my knuckles today. I gotta put some lotion on. What up, neighbors?
we on
Yo,
it today. We on it
you can
today.
tell it's a special day. We got special things happening because the air horn was on time. Amen. Say show up when you need them. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I heard the Lord
Hallelujah.
say find a new air horn website. And so I was
Okay,
obedient,
brother.
and the air horn website worked better this time.
Bro, if I need to play for the premium, we can do that. We can get the premium air horn, brother. We can do that.
Yeah, that one worked for for that one
For one
time we use it every show. Good Lord. What's
Oh
up to all
man.
the neighbors out there? Thank you so much for hanging with us on tonight. So good to be in the number one more time. Neighbors, right now, wherever you are, because we got a big show today. Do me a favor, share, hit like at the bottom, share on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you are, hit like and share. We got a big show coming up for y'all today. So today, I know, y'all. I watched it. You watched it. We all watched the Kirk Franklin Father's Day documentary. I promise we will talk about that today because I know y'all expecting to talk about it, and we gonna make it so some neighbors can jump on air with us and give their 2 cents about it as well. I promise we will get to that. But first, we have a guest. Are you ready, my brother?
Brother, I'm ready. We got a guest. We got a family member. Tell him who it is, brother.
So, the guest that we are bringing on today, he has worked with everything from gospel choirs to superstar R&B singers. This brother is a world-renowned artist and actor. This brother is one of the top, let me get it right, one of the top cruise ship headliners in the entire world. He has performed with the Baltimore Symphony, the Seattle Symphony, and many more. And this brother we about to bring on is a Grammy Award winning artist. Now, they don't just give Grammys to anybody. You got to be the upper crust to get a Grammy.
Yeah.
Neighbors, help me welcome. We invite to the show. I'm going to this is church. I got to be churchy about it. I am going to present to some and introduce to others. Please rest to your feet as we receive Darryl J. Williams. What is up, Darryl? How you doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing? How's it
Boop, boop,
going?
boop. Brother
Who
Williams.
you were talking about me? That was me. All that was me. Are you
All
serious?
that was
Hey,
you.
man.
All that was you.
God know what he doing, ain't
Been doing a
Hey.
lot, as the old saints. You've been doing a lot of work down through the years.
he? Man, I'm telling you, if your God ain't working hard, you try mine. That's what you do. That's what you have to try mine. If y'all ain't working. Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, family? I love church, the churchiest stuff in the world because those sayings we say them like it's going to be encouraging, but it's really not. It's like maybe your God is trash, but mine's real good. So come on over here. So
After we just got sent through the same service, serving the same guy, right?
yeah. Like, are we all
My-
together on this?
One of my favorites is I see in the morning if the something and the creek don't rise. Like what that got to do? What? Huh? What? Okay,
Just
whatever.
adding stuff. Just
Just
adding
adding
stuff.
stuff. Oh man, it's so good to be with you guys. I've been watching y'all since the beginning. Is this like this is the premiere, right?
This episode. I think this season's like a second and third. Yeah.
The second episode of the
I
new
just
season.
told on myself then. Okay, never mind. I'm trying to be all special. Anyway, I've enjoyed this podcast. I mean, I love you guys. And Dre, get you some lotion.
Yo, I just did. No, I just put it on. I just put it on, man. Let me put some more on. Let me put some more on. I apologize. I realized I came on the air just ashy today. That was terrible. I got the cocoa. Let me tell the people, I got the cocoa butter right here. Hey, if you want to send me some for free, okay, Palmer's.
You
I'm
know
with
what?
you, but yeah.
Oh, looking for endorsements. Endorse the man. I believe in manifesting it. Get it, man. Get it. All you can get. The cocoa butter is what you need.
To those
Yes,
of you
sir.
who may be watching us for the first time, I apologize, but Dre and hygiene is always a topic. Those two topics always kind of intertwined at some point throughout the show.
Not
Either
that
his
my
own
hygiene,
hygiene or other people's hygiene.
not that mine is off. I just want to make sure it's at an appropriate level, and some other people is off all the time. So I'm addressing that on a regular basis. But Brother Williams, I want to say thank you. You have been behind the scenes with us for a while. You every now and then you hit us with some tidbits, and so I appreciate you. And we just want to say congratulations on everything that you have been achieving.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you, Dre. It's been a long time coming, but I knew a change was gonna come sometime if I just waited out. Thank God I'm still here.
All right, so let's get to it. So,
Yeah.
you started singing in your hometown in Ridgeland, South Carolina. So in the church, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us and tell us what that was like.
Let me see. I started in the Baptist church, actually, St. Matthew Baptist Church. And I started, Dre, you're gonna love this. I started singing, and we didn't have a junior choir at the time, so they put me on the senior choir.
Okay.
Woo, them old sisters was mad with me, brother. But yeah, so I was that, and then I started playing later on, like the age of 9.
Okay.
I started playing by ear, and by 11, I had been playing for like 8 churches in the community. A Sunday, yeah, I would get up early Sunday morning. I'd start Sunday morning. I wouldn't finish until Sunday night.
Wow.
Were they paying you good?
I'm about to say, let me ask that question.
Or were they taking advantage of the young child, abusing your gifts?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that, because that's one of those things I'm trying to come up. Well, after I'm moving to change, hopefully,
right?
Because when I was coming up, yeah, you might get $5 and a chicken dinner, when my church had decided to pay me, it was a whole Congress. They had to go through what was called conference and you figure it out. And I thought it was a big deal. And, a lot of people were upset with me, and it was like $25.
All that over $25.
It was like, but no, I mean, you can't beat the training, though. You cannot beat the training that I got. You know what I mean?
Can I ask that? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the question I actually had for you. Now, you growing up, working through things, being old school, but being part of the new school.
Yeah.
Part of that was training. And do you think that training helped you along the way to where you are now? And would you have gotten that if you were demanding to be paid at everything that you did?
I have to say the pay would have been a great great incentive.
Okay.
However, you can't put a price on the training. You cannot put a price on the training. There was, I mean, and the thing that I had a problem with, or if anything that held me back, it was the minimizing of the things that I could do. For example, let me just make an example. For example, I could hear harmonies. I could always hear things in thirds. Every time I heard something, it was in thirds. I didn't know everybody didn't hear like that. So I didn't know that was a gift. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah, like that.
You know what I mean? And so, it was all about, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, but if you just sing it this way, it might sound a little better. You know what I mean? But I think had and instead of not so much the financial part of it, but had they honed in on the craft of it and the creativity that I had, I can imagine where I would be right now. And I think of all those kids out there now that's playing in church, especially drums, and they get tired. Through halfway through a song, nobody's training them to pace themselves. Nobody's training them to, all they get is this.
But you're done.
But do people still do that? Do they still do that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, some of these newfangled directors, they just get up there and they just dance with the choir. Gets on my nerves, but that's a whole nother show.
That was an unnecessary shot. But okay.
You stay up there, you just dance, and you're not signaling nothing. But that's another story. Talk to me about outside of music ministry. Talk to me about the impact that the church has had on, one, your personal life, and then two, your professional life?
Oh boy, that's a really good question. Because I don't think a lot of us really delve into it enough. I think the tradition of church gave me a respect for the way things are supposed to be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times now we're throwing away tradition and all that kind of stuff. And I get it, but a lot of times I get it. Totally, I get it. But the tradition of it taught me respect. It taught me discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It taught me, when I was coming up in the Baptist church, and I played for Pentecost. I played for almost every church, a Catholic, Pentecostal, Baptist, Presbyterian, Episcopal, all of them. It gave me a discipline in my life. I would never ever deny the experience I had that church gave me. You know what I mean? Even as a musician, for me, it was the excellence of it. It was, even though I didn't read music, but I learned how to maneuver in the spirit. And then that honed in some spiritual gifts that I could use outside of the church, if that's answer your question. Yeah. So and even in the business, in the entertainment business, it helped me, like discernment and that kind of thing, and how to maneuver in the spirit. And even when I'm doing a track, how should that track flow, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, who were some of the people that you modeled yourself after musically, both in the church and secularly? Like, who, if there is anybody, but who did you model yourself after?
Oh, there are quite a few. I came up in the Shirley Caesar era, and I came about. James Cleveland was at his was at the height. It was all about James Cleveland, and then Walter Hawkins and those came in to play.
Okay.
And then they changed the whole game. So Walter Hawkins, of course, Edwin Hawkins, and then of course through them I met Darryl Coley, of course. So that, because for me they showed more musicality. Richard Smallwood, of course, they showed more of the musicality and the creativeness of what music can be and what a service can be. And even what a song could be, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Right.
Did I answer your question?
Yes,
I'm just going to stop you there for 1 second. Just please explain, because we've had this debate. Dre and I've had this debate.
I knew you weren't going to let this slide.
This debate predates Turn to Your Neighbor.
Please
take 5 seconds and explain to my partner here how bad Darryl Coley was. I mean bad, like awesome bad. Like
Dre,
Darryl Coley.
Wait, here we go.
Dre, you.
Let me explain my position. I respect.
Please, brother, I'm gonna let you explain your position. Go ahead.
See, there is no Darryl Coley disrespect in where I am sitting at. It's his particular stylings aren't necessarily my favorite stylings. I will never negate his skill.
I get that,
but
I understand that.
The style of his vocals, and so Cliff will constantly remind me that my favorite singer's favorite singer is Darryl Coley, and so we get into this quite frequently.
Again, this predates Turn to Your Neighbor. So real quick, we had a radio show, and Dre was trying to talk about that Brian McKnight was the best male singer alive.
Okay,
Darryl Coley was still alive, and I said, no, it's Darryl Coley. And he was like, you talking crazy. You just because you like gospel, you picking Darryl Coley. I said, no. Then I played for him down on Lawrence When Sunday Comes. Okay. When Darryl Coley does the vocal gymnastics, and then Dre's jaw hit the floor. Debate was over, even though he still tries to salvage something.
But Dre, let me ask you this though. You're not I don't want to say asphyxiated, but you're not stuck on that Simpsons episode, are you?
Yo, first of all, you're aging yourself here because nobody knows about that. Like, that's what early Simpsons right there. But yes, the fact that Darryl Coley was on Simpsons.
Darryl Coley was a beast. He was a beast.
Yes,
yeah, Darryl Coley for sure. Yeah, so Walter brought us Darryl, and after that, it was like I was gone. Stevie Wonder, of course. But this is one of the things that I say in my show on the ship. my show called The Mind of a Tenor. I say on the ship, all these guys intimidated me. And I think one of the things I learned that helped me in church, one of the things I learned later on in life is that intimidation is a dream killer.
That's good.
And I would listen to these people, and I wouldn't listen to them with a mind of an inspiration. I would listen to them. I wonder if I can do that. I can't do that, and it limited me. And I remember being a musician in church, and I would hear other musicians. I'd be so intimidated to even ask them, yo, could you show me what that chord was, or whatever the case may be? Because most of the time they laughed at us anyway. But you know how that goes.
Right.
And
since you mentioned being on the ship, how long have you been in entertainment?
I have been in entertainment professionally since I graduated, since 85.
Okay. 85. So during that time, since 85, I'm sure there's been a lot of disappointment and rejection. Absolutely. And a whole lot of challenges and stuff like that. So how have you been able to kind of push through all that throughout the lifespan of your career?
I think music and my gift, well, of course the Lord, but music and my gift saved my life.
Tell me about that.
Because those times when I didn't have anything, I did have a song to sing. Mm-hmm. When I didn't have anything, I had a story to tell. When I didn't have anything, I had Jesus on. Don't make me run. I'm
about to say, come on.
Go ahead.
Come on.
Go ahead.
I was getting run. Wait a minute, what was the question?
The ups and downs.
Yeah, how have
journey.
you been able to overcome like rejection, disappointment, and challenges, and still, that's a long career, and you've experienced all that, but yet here you are still in entertainment when you could have given up, you could have done something else, but you still pushed through it. How were you able to do that?
I was purpose driven, I think. Mm-hmm. Because there were times in my life. I think about this story all the time. When I first, when Clifton and I first, anyway, there was a time in my life I thought I was the end all and be all. I thought it was it. I thought I was okay. This is it. I'm the baddest.
I remember now. I remember. Yeah.
And but when I was thinking that, Dre, I had the raggediest car. None of my bills were paid. I was in the most debt.
Right.
But through that, it was, what is your purpose? What's your purpose? It was always about finding my purpose. And what God would do is he would take me through something in life. Somebody said, if you ask God for patience, he doesn't just give you patience. He showed you something where you have to wait. Mm-hmm. And I knew I wanted to know what God's purpose for me was in this life. And he didn't just give me my purpose. He made me live it. And then I realized it wasn't all in the vibrato and how many notes you can sing and it ain't about that.
Come on.
It's about your character and how much you've learned through this life. So that's what's kept me going, knowing that God has a purpose for my life.
Okay. And
I'm living that purpose now. Now, had I not known that, had I not gone in that direction, then I think I would have quit a long time ago. Because it's more than what I am or what I'm going through. This is so much more. It's so much bigger than that. So much bigger than that. So those are the kinds of things that kept me going.
So I appreciate your story. Let's switch gears real quick and talk about the Grammy experience, if you will. You won a Grammy for working with Michael Bublé on the Grammy Award-winning album Higher. Tell us about that experience. Did you already know him? How'd you get the gig?
My best friend, Michael Mitchell, is the music director for MJ the Musical and the Apollo. He and I also worked with Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber years ago. We had done a version of Jesus Christ Superstar, but we had done a gospel version of it. And so that's how we worked together. And the orchestrator for that project had been working with Michael Bublé, and he remembered us and he said, "Hey, I've been trying to work with you guys for the longest. Michael Bublé wants to do a Sam Cooke tune on his album. He wants to work with a choir. Would you all put the vocal arrangements together?" and we were our bags were packed before the conversation was over. We didn't meet Michael until we got to the recording studio. I'm not going to take you into that story because it's a great story, but we got there and it was nothing like we expected it would be. Everything was in chaos because they were waiting on us, and we had no idea.
Yeah, you don't have to hold the story.
I know we got time if you're allowed to talk about it.
Well, here's the thing. Michael Bublé, they had hired a choir from LA.
Right.
And we had never met the choir. And Michael was working on MJ the Musical, and I was working on going back to Royal Caribbean to be back on the ship because Royal Caribbean had just offered me a 7-month residency. So I had to work all that out. When we got to LA, we were supposed to get to LA at 11 o'clock that morning. We got to LA at 1:30 because there was a bomb scare at LAX.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we get to the place, they're waiting on us, and it's like, okay, we're ready to record. And we hadn't taught the choir anything. So we were like, can we get 45 minutes with the choir? We had 45 minutes to teach the choir the arrangement. We taught the choir the arrangement. It was Crazy. Michael Bublé loved it. Okay. And we were out of there. And we forgot about it. We completely forgot about it. This was 2001. The pandemic was just, getting kind of started ending. And we forgot about it. Next thing you know, I was on the ship. I get a call on the ship. Hey, the album's been nominated for a Grammy. And so we're sitting there going, well, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Okay, well, Michael's nominated for a Grammy. Great. Okay. And it's not that we didn't think we were going to win, but he wasn't going to win or whatever, but we weren't thinking about any of that. We were going with our own lives.
Right.
And God said to me sometime years ago, when your dreams come true, sometimes they come true without a fanfare.
Come on.
Okay.
Because we expect our dreams to come true. We expect, and everybody gonna know, and all them haters it don't happen like that. Mm-hmm. So we didn't hear anything. We had left it alone. And incidentally, when the night of the Grammys, the night before the Grammys, Michael and I got together. It was a cold night. We were like, let's go out, and let's celebrate. Because MJ was up for a Grammy. So I was like, you'll win. I don't know about Michael Bublé, and I don't know what it means for us, but whatever. Mm-hmm. So we celebrated. I had to fly to Cozumel, Mexico the next day to catch a ship. And on my way, I posted and I said, hey, maybe I'll come back with a Grammy. And I laughed and I just left it alone. Turned the key into Cozumel to my hotel, and my phone's going nuts. And I'm like, it's only 4:30. It's like, please. I mean, nothing's happening by now. I put my phone down, and it is vibrating like crazy. And I get a call. I get a text saying, congratulations, you guys won. And it was like, so what does that mean? What does that mean? And I ran out in the street and I told everybody nobody could speak English. No comprende, papi. Tu loco. ¿Qué pasa, papi? And it was, but it was amazing. It's amazing.
That message that you just spoke, the sometimes your dreams can happen without the fanfare.
Yeah.
What did that feel like in that moment, and what did it mean for you? Because like you said, a lot of times people think when their dreams come true, it will be a vindication, but sometimes God will just have things to justify himself to you, not necessarily for everybody else. What was that like for you? How'd you experience that?
During the pandemic, the Lord had said to me, what do you want? And I panicked because I didn't know. I didn't know how to answer the question.
That's an interesting question to be asked during a pandemic.
What do you want?
Lord, I want to go outside.
What do you want? And I said, I thought I was being kind of smart, and I said, no, Lord, I want what you want. And he said to me, I want to take your breath away.
Wow.
And I said, hold on now, God, wait now. If you take my brother,
that's true. What does that mean? Because
hold on, wait now. Do I need to make arrangements? Hold on.
That's true. That's true. That's double. That's loaded. That's loaded. Yeah.
He said, no. He said, no. I want to make you smile till it hurts. And so that moment, that was during the pandemic. So when he said that to me, it gave me hope that the pandemic was going to end and I was going to make it through. He also said to me, don't panic. But he said to me, if you don't panic, if you believe me, if you trust me, I'm going to make you smile until it hurts. I said, okay, all right, let's go. And so it brought back to that moment. And I just looked at heaven and I just looked around and I said, God, I just, hey, you did what you said you was going to do. I sure appreciate you. And I just lost it for about 24 hours.
Wow.
I lost it for 24 hours, but there was no, you know, I mean, you know, the phone went off, but there was no, like, you know, the haters coming around and going, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't think that never happened. No. And then after a while, I didn't even have time to think about it.
You gotta go to work.
You got to go to work.
Yeah.
So
that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any EGOT goals now? Now you have the Grammy.
That's one.
Are you going to get the rest of the Entertainment Infinity Stones?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How come nowadays you can't just get one? You got to get all of them.
All of them.
You can't just run for president and get one.
I'm just
Just
asking.
get one term. No, you got to have two.
Because we are a greedy society.
Right.
I never expected I would have a Grammy. I never even expected I would be nominated. I never even expected I'd be alive. So
come on.
You know, just to have one of them, I thought it hits me every day. I was telling your wife, Annie, hey Annie, I was telling her the other day how it hits you in waves. And each one of those waves come, no one's ever around. It hits you when you're in meditation with him. And it came one day, and the thought came, you know, an EGOT means, you know, you think that then an Oscar is the top of all of them, but that's not true. The Emmys is the Oscar of television. The Grammy is the Oscar of music. The Oscar is the Oscar of film. The T is the Oscar of the Tonys. So I got the equivalent of all of them in a particular genre that I never thought I would have. I'm good. I wouldn't, not to say I wouldn't try again now, but I spent all of my life struggling and trying to get here. And now that I'm here, I don't know if I want to struggle to get another one.
And that was actually my question for you, because this blessing came and you weren't necessarily chasing it. Right. You were just going about the business of doing the work that God has blessed you to do and using your skills.
Absolutely.
Is there a temptation now, being frank?
Yeah.
Is there a temptation now to go chase something? It's like, now that I have this, I'm going to go try to go do something else? Or is it just like, okay, God blessed me through the work, so I go do the work again? Or do you want to go, hey man, I like this taste, I want to go get something else, you know?
Yeah, I you know what I think I want to, what I want to do is I want to tell my story now.
Okay.
I want to tell my story so I can help someone else, so that it won't be as difficult, hopefully, as it was for me. I'd rather tell my story, and I'm in the process of writing a book now, and I'm it's not so much the awards or whatsoever as much as it is purpose. And I think my purpose here is bigger than what an award will give me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So now, what is next for the Grammy Award-winning global headliner Darryl J. Williams? Now, aside from the book, is there other things that you are working on that you got forthcoming?
Yeah. I'm actually working with a company right now, a renowned company that's doing some amazing things called Elevated Levels, with Clifton and his beautiful wife Annie Holmes, an award-winning CEO. We've gotten some calls from South Africa, so I'm planning on doing South Africa again. I have to finish out this year with Royal Caribbean. I have a couple of weeks off to get myself together, and then I'm gone until the end of January. After that, hopefully I'll be finished the book, and then I'm gonna finish writing my musical about my life and put that out there and put that on the road. So a lot of stuff's coming. You know, I want to do. There's a lot of stuff I want to do. Like I want to do one of those Juneteenth celebrations. I want to do a 4th of July. I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to do all of it. Yeah. But and all of it is coming. It's just a matter of me staying focused and knowing what my purpose is. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thanks, guys. This has been wonderful. Is it over? We done?
Hey, you told me you had to get out by a certain time, and that time has come.
Y'all, Darryl, brother Williams has he let us know earlier that he has other engagements he has to get to, so we don't want to hold him up from these other industry engagements that this brother has. You see, they win awards, and all of a sudden they have award-winning representation now, and so they're just. We have to let them go.
Like they say in church, we don't want to belabor the time.
Dre, I have to say this before I go though. I had somebody laughing at you the other day. Mm-hmm. You were talking. You are talking. It was something to do with the clock system.
What did I say? Did I give a hot take?
He can't even get it out. He's laughing about it. Laughing at it.
You said and you took your time and explained it. You know, the card, those are my heart now. I love them. I love those ladies. You said some of that stuff just don't make no sense. Some of that stuff just don't make no sense. I hollered and I told somebody about that and they were crying.
Hey, well, I appreciate you being such a good ambassador for the show. You see, the neighborhood doesn't realize for the hood out there, the neighborhood, the neighbors, he has been a member of the neighborhood for years.
For the longest.
Yes. And so we love and respect you and we appreciate you and we're happy for you and for your journey.
I don't mean to put you on blast. That was funny. That was hilarious.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Meaning I love your candor is what I'm saying. I love it.
Yes, sir.
That's all right. That's far from the most candid thing he's ever said. So
are you serious?
Don't go back through the archives. See, I want to take this moment really quickly.
Let's just say there's a list of gospel artists who will probably never be on the show if they, quote unquote, dig through the crates of things Dre has said.
No, as Cliff says those types of things, he makes me sound wild. But brother, he said we would never get certain artists on the show. So you, as a Grammy Award winner, you have proven him wrong and let me know. See, you have taken my dreams. You've given me my purpose on tonight by just being here. So thank you very much. And let him know that I'm not giving hot takes all the time and I haven't ruined us forever.
No,
so thank you, brother.
I just want you guys to know before I go that I appreciate this time and this platform. And you celebrating. I told Cliff, Dre, I said, listen, I love you guys' show. I would love to seed into it. And why not can I make an announcement? And you were like, oh, do it on the show. I was like, I would love that. This is like a dream come true for me. I think you guys are doing some wonderful things. Keep up the good work. And I'm going to get you some more followers and we're going to get them numbers up, baby. Yeah, you guys are amazing, and I think you're both geniuses.
Thank you. Tell all the neighbors, and if you're watching this show for the first time, you are now a neighbor. So tell all the neighbors where they can find you on social media, website, all that kind of stuff. Tell people how they can connect with you and keep up with everything that you're doing.
You can find me on Instagram at Darryl J. Williams, and on Facebook at Darryl J. Williams. And to find out where I am and keep up with me and what's going on with me, just go to my website, darryljwilliams.com.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Consistency of branding. I love it. I love it.
Dre, man, I love you, man. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Love you too. Neighbors, thank you very much. Darryl J. Williams, world-renowned artist, Grammy winner. Thank you so much, man. Take care,
Congratulations, brother. Be blessed, brother. Be blessed.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, my brother.
That was
Look
dope.
at that. Look.
That was dope, man. That was dope.
That
Being able
was
to put faces and with names and hey, that was great. That was great, man. I'm happy for him. Hey,
All
see,
right.
I've been looking to go on a cruise.
Go ahead.
I've been looking to go on a cruise, so now I'm had to find out exactly where he is at on his next steps, and so I can make sure I catch up with him for sure.
We could do that.
Yes.
We do like let the neighbors know if a bunch of neighbors want to join us. We hit a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
We act a fool during one of his shows.
So if he's in the neighborhood, does that by proxy that make us Grammy Award winners as well? Like, do we got like a half a Grammy, a quarter of a Grammy? Can I put Grammy Award winner on my Vita?
We could put that we've interviewed Grammy Award winner. That's about as much as we get. Okay,
that's dope. That's dope.
because there are websites that verify this kind of stuff.
Oh, that's a trip. Okay, that's unfortunate. All right, but I will just go with interview on Grammy Award winners. That's fine.
Cool. All right, so there's no graceful way to make this turn, but we're gonna make it right now. So as all of you know, social media was all a buzz. The gospel industry was all a buzz because Kirk Franklin released a documentary of his life called basically a documentary of his relationship with his father, or his search for his father, called Father's Day. It's available right now on YouTube if you haven't seen it. If you have not seen it, I'm telling you right now, we will give you spoilers if you care, if that's an issue. So if that's a thing for you,
turn us off now.
You might want to turn.
We're gonna talk about the whole.
But make sure you come back. So you stop and you go watch it, and then you go watch the replay of our show on YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. Yeah, don't like not come back and watch.
Get our streams up. Yeah,
get our streams up. So I want to open up the discussion. We're gonna talk about the show. I'm going to show some of the neighbors like some. We can't play nothing, Kirk. Because that brother gets us shut down.
I'm about to say, what are you about to do? Like,
I'm just showing you the neighbors some pictures. These are just pictures of the documentary. So this is if you follow his Instagram, this is the picture where he's like finding out right now about his father. So for those of you that don't know, I'll give you kind of a quick recap. And what we're going to do is we open up the line. So if anybody wants to come on the show, I'm putting this link in the chat right now for anyone. You can just click this link and join if you want to discuss what we all experienced with the Kirk Franklin Father's Day documentary.
So this link, it will be on the Facebook feed. So if you are watching from YouTube,
it's on YouTube too. It's on YouTube too.
Okay. I was completely wrong. Oh,
the software has allowed. The Lord has provided. He has
executive producer Cliff
made a way. So for those of you that don't know, Kirk Franklin was not raised by his parents. He was raised by his biological parents. He's raised by a woman named Gertrude. Now I still kind of confused exactly how he was related. If he was, if his grandmother,
he's adopted.
He's adopted. She just adopted him. No relation. I thought it was his aunt, but anyway. Adopted by a woman named Gertrude, raised him. Gertrude passed away many, many years ago. And even before that, Kirk was always trying to find out information about his parents, and more specifically his father. Because at some point he found out who his mother was. His mother is a woman named Deborah Jones. And for a long time, Kirk thought that some guy named Dwight Allen was his dad. And it turns out that, and so Kirk grew up, well, Kirk didn't realize this till later in life, but he ended up hating this Dwight Allen guy because he was never in his life. And, like Shaq said, biological didn't bother.
Come biological didn't bother. I'm sorry.
It's all right. So, but it turns out that just as some kind of random encounter, so his biological father, his name is Rick Hubbard. It turns out that this is his the guy he thought was his biological dad. The guy you see on his screen, the gentleman he thought
Right.
was his biological dad. But it turns out that his biological father was just kind of at some event among some people, and his biological dad, funeral, and he said, I used to kick it. I used to have relations with
They didn't say it like that. He said,
Deborah
I used
Jones.
to date your mom.
He said I had a thing. I was with her. He said,
I don't think he said it like that, player. I'm gonna go back and watch it again.
Well, he knew her in the biblical sense. Okay?
In the biblical sense,
he knew her.
Nobody just drops that line in the funeral. Hey, I used to bang Kirk's mama. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not how it happened.
And to his credit, Rick, Kirk's biological dad, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna swab. I'm gonna swab my mouth. You can take this, do with it what you will, and you can get a test if you so desire. I'm just going to give you this information. You could take it and run with it.
Let me back up a half step. Let me back up a half step. So Kirk was in the middle of putting together this album that he's putting out currently. One of the singers on that album had a funeral to go to during the whole thing. Mm-hmm. She goes to the funeral and there's this gentleman there. And they know he sings with Kirk because Kirk's known this young lady her whole life. And he says, hey, I used to have a thing. I had a thing with Kirk's mother at one point. And this young woman sits there and looks at this one and said, oh my God. And she realized he looks a lot like Kirk. And that's, I guess from there, if you look in the documentary, it begins that there were rumors that were started and ideas and thoughts that were started and people started talking. It got back to this gentleman. What was his name again? I forget what his name again.
Rick Hubbard.
Hubbard got back to Rick Hubbard. And Rick, being an upstanding dude, was like, hey, I have no problem. Just to keep all this and dead all this, I will swab my mouth and I will give it to you. And you all decide what you want to do with it. That's wild, first of all. But it was there's a certain God element in all this because somebody who sings with Kirk just happened to be at a funeral. Mm-hmm. And Kirk wasn't even there. Yeah, and then things just got brought up. Like, why was Kirk's mama's name in somebody's mouth at that point? Oh, you sing with Kirk? I used to mess with his mama a little bit back in the day. Okay, that's folks being messy, first of all. There's so much mess in all this. But then he was like, hey, if you need to swab my mouth, here you go. And then it went from there.
And so what many of us saw was him, at least initially on Instagram, he was posting how he found out. The message or the voicemail that the interaction on the phone right here, this picture right here, that he had with his doctor. The test came back 99.9% match. So at that moment, he found out that this guy, Rick, was his biological dad. And this dude he ended up hating, this gentleman right here, Dwight Allen, was not his dad.
So the thing that first struck me, I was watching it with my wife. Okay. Mm-hmm. First of all, let me back this up. I was watching something on television with my daughter, and my wife is over in the corner of the couch with her earbuds in, and she wasn't at all correlating with what me and my daughter were watching. I'm like, what are you doing? She said, I'm watching the Kirk Franklin documentary, and you need to turn that on. So as soon as the program that me and my daughter were watching was over, we turned the Kirk Franklin documentary on, and the whole thing, this all happened on a Friday night, and then I text Cliff, and the whole thing was crazy. But the thing that struck me the most was this man, like Kirk, this man who he thought was his father, went to the grave knowing that Kirk was mad at him. Yeah. And this man was big enough to own it. This brother right here, that's on the screen right now. Mm-hmm. That brother was big enough. He's like, I understand. Because Kirk basically expressed to him while he was dying, hey, man, I'm hurt by you. I'm still a little bit mad at you. I'm sorry I can't love you like. And he went to his grave with that. And that's got to be tough for Kirk, knowing that some man died and he expressed his dissatisfaction with him on his deathbed. And that blame didn't belong to that man.
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
A couple things. One of the things that struck me was when Kirk was saying, he's like, they tell me I'm the highest selling gospel artist ever. Like, that. Nobody to tell you that. That. Anyway, they tell me I'm the highest, but he was having the conversations with the guy he thought was his biological dad, this gentleman, Dwight Allen. They tell me I'm the highest selling gospel artist, but you were not there to tell me who I am.
Come on. the level of blame that was being assigned to somebody who didn't deserve it is just mind-boggling.
Yes.
And what the thing was, the reason he even was pointed to Dwight Allen he was pointed towards Dwight Allen because his mama said so.
Yeah.
Right?
This is the gentleman his mother told him was his father. So that's all he had to go off of.
That's all he had to go off of. And then there happened to be a funeral and a happenstance of a meeting, and things started rolling. And all of a sudden, Kirk is on camera. First of all, shout out to who was, because somebody was documenting him. They weren't documenting him for this documentary. They're actually documenting him for behind the scenes on his album that he was recording. And so he happened to have somebody there and had hired somebody when this whole thing started. And so here he is, this man and his wife in their pajamas somewhere getting this news. Now, I will admit, Kirk is extra in my eyes. He's always been extra. So yeah. I didn't know if I thought this was all part of a rollout, and I didn't really believe him. And even when he started reacting to it, I didn't believe him. It wasn't until that man's face was wet with tears. And when I say wet with tears, I mean wet. Which I was like, oh, we're on a journey. This is what we're doing now.
Yeah. So you felt that pain. And that moment when him and Tammy looking out the window, you felt that pain. Like you could tell he was hurt. And rightfully so, but he was hurt because he had been lied to. And he's yelling. I know it was his moment, and I kind of felt bad for the doctor because he was unloading on the doctor who was on the other end of the phone, and that she was just doing her job. But he was like yelling, screaming at her about how you mean to tell me my mama lied to me all these years, and you could feel his pain through the screen.
She lied again.
Yeah.
She lied again. And the doctor is just doing their job and delivering the news.
Yeah.
And at one point, he just walks off, and Tammy has to kind of step in and try to talk to the doctor real quick. But it was like Max says, it was raw emotions, man. It was crazy.
So from there, I guess the other big, there's a couple big moments in this. So then the moment when he is having this discussion with his mother, the moment his mother becomes part of the documentary. So when this picture right here, when they're at the house and they're talking, there's his mother and his aunt, they're having discussion. But then when they're in his meeting room at his studio, and you got Mr. You got his biological dad, Rick Hubbard, and you got his mom sitting across the table, and he is showing his mother the results. He is showing her the paternity results, and she said to him, "This is not true."
We gotta give a little context, because remember, he had the initial results. He brought him to because he hadn't seen his mom physically in 20 years.
20 years. Yeah.
20 years he hadn't seen her physically. So he's like, I gotta come talk to you. And so he had the initial results from the doctor on the phone. He went there. She tells him she doesn't believe him. Well, he went to his father, the father first, met him. That was an emotional moment. Then went to his mother. He tells her, she says, I don't believe it. So they went and did a second paternity test with everybody getting swabbed right in front of her. Yeah. He brought them all back together, as Cliff said, in the meeting room at For Your Soul Entertainment. Shout out to For Your Soul still being around. Amen. Amen. And this woman sat there and continued to say, I don't believe this.
Yeah. And like you said, Derek said the second test involved all three of them.
All three of them.
And she said she doesn't believe it.
And what was crazy, wild, was her sister, his aunt, Kirk's aunt, his mother's biological mother's sister was there. And you could see on her face, she's felt bad for Kirk in that moment. You could, baby, he just wants the truth.
You could feel his heart breaking right there.
Yep.
Because after going through all of this, believing his mother lied to him, seeking and finally finding out the truth that he had been wanting all his life. He's 50 plus, wanting all his life. And then in his face, his mother is telling him that this is not true.
This is not true.
Like even in that moment, with all the proof you need in the world, she's still saying this is not true.
And he's sitting there. He said, "So you won't even give me this?
Yeah.
It's like you won't give me this moment. It's like I'm bringing you the truth. I'm bringing you uncontrovertible physical evidence. You won't give me this."
And so I thought about it. What benefit does she have to not believe?
Can I give you an honest answer?
Yeah.
And me and Alita were talking. My wife were talking about this. So this dominated our conversation for several days. I really do think in her mind she has it built. She has this story built in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I truly believe it's issues of mental health. She has a story built in her mind. She believes what she believes, that man who died, who's the man that died?
The guy that died was Dwight Allen.
Dwight Allen, that was the man. That's who it was. That who your daddy was. And so it's so ingrained in her mind. This has been for years. Boy, been around 50-something years, for decades. It's ingrained in her mind that that's who the daddy was. And so now that even though we have this evidence, and when you see this man's face, you will see that's Kirk's daddy. But like that picture right there, that's it right there.
They look so much alike.
In her,
it's identical.
Yep, in her mind, she can't process. You know what I'm saying? She can't process, and it's crazy. It's wild. I think it's several issues of mental health happening within that entire family, if we want to be honest.
And so, part of me think that she not want to give the aura of her sleeping around, and you slept around so much, you've been with so many different people, you can't even identify your son's father. Like was she trying to avoid that? But at this point in her life, and where her and Kirk, well, not have been together, but what they've been through, all she had to do in that moment is just say, "I'm sorry."
Yep, that's all you had to do. But I'm telling you that I truly believe it's a combination of both something that's spiritual and both something that is actual a mental health issue. That she's bound up. She can't get to that point, bro. She can't get to it.
How many? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The concept when you tell the story, the lie for so long, the lie becomes the truth in your mind. I think she set that up in her head. That is like, nah, this ain't right.
So to all the mothers that's listening now, how many of you would any of you have been able to sit there and literally watch your child's heart break right in front of you without breaking down yourself? I mean, let's be real. Some of y'all break down. Little Johnny scrapes his knee, and some of y'all ready to lose it. So I can't imagine like seeing my child I don't care how old they are, but their heart is breaking right in front of you. And you have that kind of attitude.
For her, the focus is on her. She's worried about, like you said, what she believes and what she's felt. It wasn't about Kirk. But I want to Latoya hit us with this. That was the man she was hoping and thus believed. Like she was hoping that was the father and thus believed it was, and it was stuck in there. Auntie was tripping too. Was tripping too. Has as several of you have pointed out, Derek James says, "What was the aunt stunting? She was tripping too." That said, it's a reminder that there are a lot of older people who never grow up. A bunch of 70-year-old teenagers. Because these are some old folks. Ain't nobody young in this picture. The youngest is 50 plus, and that's Kirk. You know what I'm saying? And so these are grown folks with grown hurts.
So Max said an apology is owed to the original dad's family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Latoya's answering your question. Nope, the mom and me wanted to square up with his mom on just that.
His mother was catching the last not even 5 days, last couple days. His mom has been catching so many strays on social media.
So many strays.
People have been saying like good morning to everybody except Kirk Franklin's mother.
Kirk Franklin's mama.
Like that's
Kevin on stage have been going in, yo.
People have been going in on this woman. I mean, and I guess justifiably so. because the way that they treated, way she treated him.
Let
So
me
the
say
other,
this.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Max says something here. It was a lot to unpack in 36 minutes. It should have been a whole Netflix docuseries. I will say this, and I put it when I put it up on Facebook. For some folks, when you go watch this, there's trigger warnings in this. If there are issues around relationships with parents and around paternity, maternity, and just that type of thing, it might trigger some things.
Yeah, I was thinking about people who have lost their parents.
I
And
did.
even if you had a relationship with them, but they passed on. I was thinking about those people.
I was.
I'm not gonna lie. After I watched it, I went and told my kids I loved them.
Yeah.
I got up when each one. Well, one of them was asleep, but the other two that were awake, I would just like, I will let you know I love you.
Richard, I think Richard hit right on the head. He said he didn't even have no issues, and he was
Me
tore
neither.
up.
Yeah,
Like this was. Me and Cliff were talking earlier, and I said what it really did for me because I was blessed. I have been blessed, and I am blessed with a father who was there, very present, and he is much the model for who I am. And
same.
in that man, I said to him, it's like, yo, I'm blessed by who he is and what he is, and knowing the situation he came from, where he did not have as much of the same direct father role model that he has been for me. He had other men in his life who stepped in that mold, but not in the same relationship that he's had with me. And he didn't have that role model. And to be the man he was, I was blessed. I continue to be even more blessed to see. God, I thank you for what you protected me from and through who my father is.
So the other moment that kind of hit me was when he told Carry On. So for those of you don't know, Carry On is Kirk Franklin's oldest son from that's not from his current marriage. And they've been estranged, to say the least. They've gone, I think it's been 2 years since they talked. I don't think he's talked to him since they had that whole blow up that went viral when Kirk is cussing him out. And he tells Carry On. And the thing that surprised me the most, other than the mother's reaction, was Carry On's reaction.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I did not expect Carry On to just like lose it like that. Not to say he wasn't justified, but I guess it just surprised me.
Yep.
But yeah, but he completely lost it. And then I'm over here like, is somebody cutting onions in this house? Or like, what's going on?
Bruh. It was that was heavy. There are certain times it's like, I don't think a camera should be here right now. There are a few moments for that. Yes. I was like, I think we should cut the camera off.
I thought that when they were releasing stuff on social media, I was like, am I going to be seeing this?
I was like, I don't think we should be seeing this. I want a couple people's points really quickly. Yeah. Renee hit us with something nice. We don't know the mother's side of the story, Kirk's mom's side of the story, nor the trauma she may have suffered. And I think that's something we need to underline. There's trauma throughout all of this.
Thank you.
There's evidence of trauma based on her position of denial. Like she's locked into a story for a reason. So thank you to Renee for that. Derek James, this one right here. People for the trigger warning, people who deal with anxiety, avoidance, thoughts of infantilization, abandonment, fear, accountability, etc. It brought out all the triggers. There were so many things, bro. Like so many things. And I was afraid to almost put it to promote it on my Facebook, because I was like, hey, I don't want to be responsible for however anybody reacts to it. But it's powerful, though.
This makes you rethink every relationship you have in your life.
Yeah.
It just makes you think about anybody you care about. It makes you think about that person in some way.
There was someone specifically who I thought of in a relationship that I have with them, and knowing some of their history. And I said, it's like, do I need to soften my heart and my stance on some things? Seeing what I'm seeing here. Like there was levels of ministry, and it's just, it's wild. If you go on this thing with an open heart and just to watch it, even if I just went in as pure entertainment, and then I said, whoa, what are we watching? What are we watching?
I'm watching this and I'm thinking, this man is the greatest gospel artist of all time. Yep. And he has performed in front of millions of people, millions of album sales and streams and all that kind of stuff. And he did all of this while he was in so much pain.
Yeah.
And I sat there thinking, like, I have and you know, there's the thing about comedians, like the funniest comedians have like the some of the darkest lives, and
Right.
their pain has allowed them to be funny, etc. And I said that thinking about this, like this man's pain influenced his music,
Mm-hmm.
and I have benefited from his pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I found
Mm-hmm.
myself like praying for him, like being grateful that I got to experience it and be blessed by his music and everything, but just like praying for all the hurt and the wounds and everything he had to experience.
It almost made me feel as if I was exploiting him by listening to his music. Like it hit me in a way because I'm like, this brother, like this next album, like once you see the interspersed things, how intertwined the pain is with
Yeah.
this album, it's like, should you be singing about this right now, or do you need to process? So I know you're processing maybe something through the music, but do we need to get with a therapist and unpack all this a little bit before you drop this album on October 20, whatever it is?
Yeah.
It was like I feel like, first of all, some of the cuts that I heard, I mean, some of the little things I heard, I'm gonna listen because that don't sounded right. but yeah, man, it was deep.
So bear with me with this analogy. So you know how, and I'm sure a lot of us have watched the Marvel movies, and after you watch like Endgame, right? And
Right.
then the other movies, after you watch Endgame, if you go back and watch like Captain America 1, and the other movies feel different because you've seen all of them and you've seen Endgame now. After
Yes.
this, after watching this now and thinking about some of his older music,
Mm-hmm.
I have a different feeling now just thinking about those songs, like the song for Mama, even though at the
Mm-hmm.
time I knew that wasn't his real mother, even then, but still, like that song, and like we talked about last week, the interlude with him and Fred,
Yep.
there's a hole in my soul. That those, and so if you go back and think about like some of his music, it just feels different because you understand the place he was in emotionally, while he was putting that music together.
There is, because we have talked about this now a couple of times, and I got to remember what album, because I want to give people a specific cut of what song, which Kirk Franklin album was that
You talking about the
from?
interlude? There's a hole in my soul.
The interlude, yeah, because it's just called like Interlude One or something like that.
Yeah, it's I bet you, I bet if you just Google Kurt Franklin, there's a hole in my soul, it'll come up.
Interlude. Okay, it's Kirk Franklin. It's literally just Kirk Franklin Interlude number 1. I want you to go. We can't play it on here, but go watch the joint and then listen to that song. It's a 55-second interlude.
Tell them the
And
album.
I had which album? It's the only one that he got. I don't know. It's the one with his face on it, bro. Hero. I'm sorry, Hero.
Okay.
The Hero album, Interlude number 1. Go listen, watch the joint, and then listen to that song.
And that's actually Fred Hammond singing. So
Fred Hammond singing it, but he wrote it. Kirk wrote it. And it's like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And for some reason that song touched my heart years ago when it came out in 2005. And I memorized, me and Cliff was singing it earlier. I memorized every note, every run, and I just listened to it over and over and over again because I didn't understand exactly what it was. But that joint is, you see, it is like a Marvel movie. This doc brings everything together. Like you see the totality of everything. And so here's the other part that I've been wondering. We've been watching him minister with hurt, and you can see some of the things now and some of the way he acts and some of the things he does. Here's my question. Once he goes through this, he goes through a process of healing, what's his ministry going to look like with that healed or burden lifted?
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, because I'm not going to name names.
I think there's a whole nother stage of his career and life that we are about to embark upon.
Yeah. I mean, because he's still young enough, and
he's not done.
He's not done. He keeps himself in good shape, and you know, he takes care of his body. And
selfishly, I think it's wild. I think it's going to be a whole different thing. I was like, where is he going to go from here once he processes all of this? Because I think it's going to be a different person. And you know who I felt was one of the worst for? Tammy. Tammy done sat there with him, and as he sat on the Oprah couch and talked about his pornography and everything else addiction. Like she done been through 2 or 3 different traumatic things through the public eye already with him. And now she gotta go through a whole nother one and walk like those are marriage vows for your behind.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you marry, man. I mean, you take it all. Like
Yep.
when you marry, you sign up for that. You sign up.
That's what's supposed to happen. That does not
Yeah,
always
that's
happen.
what's supposed. When you marry, you sign up for their issues,
Mm,
and they sign up for yours.
yeah. But that's gonna be
The
that's
only
gonna
last
be
thing I
wild.
want to mention, and we could be done if you want. Last thing I want to mention is his father, his biological father. That gentleman. I mean, I'm not saying he was the hero of the doc, but his response to all of this. Well, I felt a certain level of admiration for him, just on some level. Like I don't know, like when there's a scene where Kirk is asking him, how could you not know? Because the town is so small. How could you not know about me and all this? Like that I'm gonna just put that aside just a second because I don't know. I'm gonna take the brother for it. I'm gonna take him at his word where he said he had no idea.
Right.
But his response since finding out has been I don't know if you can expect more. Like he came out and said, I will be in your life to whatever level you want to have me.
Yes. Now the way he was, somebody mentioned earlier, some of the responses, Kirk's responses sounded like therapy. I think some of that brother's responses sounded like he's been through some prayer and therapy. Like he was like, okay, let me process, because he broke down, started crying, and he said, hey, I'm sorry. And like it was right there when he said, and Kirk, it was one of the craziest parts. The first time they didn't touch each other really at first. And Kirk, and after he revealed it to him, Kirk, he went in to give him a hug, and you could see Kirk really couldn't fully.
Yeah, he said it. He's like, I don't know how much.
Yep, I can't really give you a hug, like a real hug right now. But I'd like to hug you. I'd like to hug. And brother, if this wasn't written, like, brother.
I mean, even that moment when his biological dad, Rick, his name is Rick. When Rick first opens the envelope and he reads the results to himself, like you could just see on his face, like, oh my God, like what is life now? Like you could just see all the thoughts and emotions. And if this was a cartoon, you could see all the thought bubbles and all the other kind of stuff. I mean, the whole thing was just like really powerful. And it was beyond what I expected.
Yes. For a 35, 36 minute doc, it was beyond what I expected. It was crazy, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. And judging by the comments, I see a lot of the neighbors seem to enjoy it too. And there was a lot of crying and watery eyes and
I'm gonna go watch it again.
Some emotional moments.
Is he at the concert we're gonna go see? That's not his concert.
This is his concert. That's the whole. Yes.
Should he be singing right now? Like, don't he need to process some stuff?
I paid my ticket. He better. No, I'm joking. Well, I mean, he's gonna show. He's gonna show.
So Cliff and I, there's y'all should go see it. Go get your ticket. The reunion tour. So who all is it on the reunion? It is.
So for those of you who don't know, the reunion tour is out. It's Kirk Franklin, Ty Tribbett, Israel Houghton, Tamela Mann, and the Clark sisters.
You know who else is coming? God's Property.
God's Property and New Breed also.
Yeah.
And the family. So there are. We had a full show, but next week there's video of the God's Property rehearsing.
Yes.
I'll play that next show.
But I'm going one in Philly. I know some other neighbors are going one in Philly. I know you hitting a different one up. We as soon as we saw wind of it, we got this ticket. We said we going, and so I look forward to it. I'm going to be interesting to see what this man does. It's going to be interesting to see, and this is another message. We see all of our people, our pastors, our ministers, our people who minister, many of them have to operate through no matter what they're going through in their personal life. And like if my pastor is hurting, they still get up there and deliver the word to the flock. You know what I'm saying? And so here he is going through his ministry. The show and the ministry must go on. And so it's obvious he going through some stuff right now. And here he is out there. And so it's crazy, man.
And the documentary was probably completed a few weeks ago, but to have to kind of relive it with the public release and the promotion and getting feedback from people and all this kind of stuff, like you still gotta experience that kind of stuff.
He's all over Black Twitter right now, so he's gonna be dealing with it constantly. There'll be people in the audience. If he doesn't even meet and greets, folks will want to say, "Hey, man," you know what I'm saying? And so how do you deal with that before you go on stage every night?
Yeah, and I'm sure people are going to be sharing with him the stories about their father or their parents or similar situations. You know, I had this same experience, blah blah blah. So so we are going to continue to keep Brother Kirk in our prayers. Amen. And since you mentioned it, definitely whomever your pastor is, make sure you're praying for him or her, because leadership. It's not easy in these streets. It's not. It ain't. If we real, it ain't easy dealing with us.
The congregation can often be a source of consternation and trouble. Yes, sir.
So
yes,
keep
sir.
your pastor, him or her, or both of them. And his wife and her husband. Keep the family. How about that? Keep the pastoral family of your church in prayer.
Amen.
Did you have a rant for the neighbors, or no?
This is a really good episode, man. I don't want to ruin it with a rant. Hey, I send a moment of sincere prayer and love to all those who you are dealing with these whatever issues that you may be dealing with, and especially for the people dealing with in these realms. If discussions like this have brought things up, if you watch it and things are brought up, I pray that God guides you through whatever you may be going through, and how you decide to deal with it. May it be led and may it be a healing moment, and not just an open sore and an open wound, but may healing come from it, because that's a real thing. That's a real thing. So prayers and blessings.
Yes, it is. And so to all of you, thank y'all for hanging with us. To some of the newer watchers who came in to check out Darryl, and some of you that stayed, appreciate you so much. We do this show every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook and YouTube. If you can't watch live, that's okay. We appreciate you watching anyway. You can watch on demand. You go to turntoneighbor.com for all of the different ways you can watch the show on demand. And you see where you can follow us. And of course, to Turn to Neighbor audio podcast, wherever you get your podcast from.
Go follow Brother Darryl too. Go follow one of the members of the neighbor.
Yeah. Thank you once again to Darryl Williams, wherever you may be right now. But thank you, brother, for joining us. And thank you to all the Darryl Williams fans who joined us on today. We appreciate
the higher levels agency, or his representation. Who was that again?
Elevated Levels.
Elevated Levels.
Elevated Levels Foundation Incorporated. Elevated Levels Foundation.org. You can check out, Darryl's management. Full disclosure, that is operated by my family, led by my wife and my family. Just so you know. No, I gotta disclose. When have I ever misled the neighbors? And so I'm not going to do it now.
There was nothing. Just look it up. You need some representation.
I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it now. And yes, so of course, Mac was next week. Are we going to get back to shucking and jiving and carried on? Yes. Probably so.
We appreciate y'all.
Because I got a couple videos in the vault that we didn't talk about. And I'm sure somebody else is going to do something else. Unless another Grammy Award winner wants to come on the show, Kirk,
if you know some,
Hezekiah Walker, anybody, you out there.
Now that we show you, we do a decent interview, we can act right when people come on. So hey, come on over.
Exactly. I think that's it. We have the hour is far spent.
Yes, far spent. Yes.
All right, neighbors, thank you so much for hanging out. We really appreciate y'all. Shout out to the OG neighbors who hang with us no matter what we have on here. Really appreciate y'all. Because y'all show up for us every week, no matter what. So it is not lost on us.
Don't take it for granted.
Yeah, we don't take it for granted at all. Appreciate y'all so much. But until next time, neighbors, take care and be blessed. Peace.